Welcome students. In this topic, we will learn about single V butt joint on 10 mm thick MS plates in vertical position using SMAW process.
Objectives.
At the end of this topic, you will be able to select appropriate electrodes for tack welding and welding process. Prepare and set plates. In single V butt joint in vertical position. Tack weld. Single V butt joint in vertical position using SMAW. Inspect the weldments for defects. Now, let us look at the tools required for single V butt joint on 10 mm thick MS plate in vertical position by SMAW process. Steel rule, scriber, prick punch, ball peen hammer, flat file, bench vise, tri-square, tongs, chipping hammer, steel wire brush, electrode cable and earth cable, electrode holder, electrode, personal protective equipment, SMAW welding plant machine and their setup accessories, C-clamp. Now, let us see the pre-welding preparations for a single V butt joint on 10 mm thick MS plate in vertical position by SMAW process. Use personal protective equipment for safety purposes. Cut two 10 mm thick MS plates, 150 mm length by 50 mm width. Bevel the edges to an angle of 30 to 35 degrees. Use goggles while cutting and filing or grinding. Prepare a 1.5 mm root face. Throughout the length, grinding. Ensure there are no burrs at the edges and maintain smoothness. Keep the bevel edges parallel with 2.5 mm root gap. Maintain a uniform and parallel root gap. Tack weld on both ends with correct alignment. The root side angle between the plates should be 177 degrees. Keep the electrodes ready for each run. For root run, use 3.15 mm electrode. And 110 amps current. For second and third run, use 4 mm electrode and 160 amps current. We have seen the pre-welding preparations. Let us look at the welding process of a single V butt joint on a 10 mm thick MS plate in vertical position using the SMAW process. Position the plates in vertical position. Deposit the root run using a 3.15 mm dia MS electrode with 110 amps current with a slight sideways movement of the electrode. While depositing the root run, maintain a uniform root penetration. The arc length should be short. Ensure a keyhole throughout the root run. The angle of the electrode in the holder should be 120 degrees so that it is convenient to hold the electrode at 80 degrees to the line of weld. The root penetration depth should not exceed 1.6 mm. Remove the slag and clean the root run by using a chipping hammer and wire brush. Deposit the second run using a 4 mm dia MS electrode over the root layer with 160 amps current and keep the electrode movement slightly sideways. Remove the slag and clean the weld bead thoroughly. Deposit the third layer using a 4 mm dia MS electrode with 160 amps current, pausing regularly at the toes of the weld. The arc length should be short to control sagging of weld metal. Remove slags with a chipping hammer and clean the weld bead thoroughly with a wire brush. Now, we will look at the important points to follow for a single V-butt joint on a 10 mm thick MS plate in vertical position using SMAW process. Always use safety equipment. Uneven ripple, blow holes, craters, spatters, recap.
In this topic, you have learned to set and tack weld single V butt joint in vertical position, deposit root run and ensure root penetration, deposit the second and third runs with weaving moment of electrodes without any welding defects.